Good day everyone. Today I'm going to show you a beginner tutorial for SQL Server Management Studio. The provided SQL query commands cover various aspects of working with a database, including a data table creation, data insertion, data manipulation, and querying. Let's break down each command in its purpose. The provide the first is to create database. We need to click the new query. Then the first command is the create database. This command is used to create a new database. This will uh, Today we'll be using a database for human resources. So I will be naming it hum underscore res. Then you can click the execute to create the database. Then next is to use the database is the, the use database command. This command selects the database for subsequent operations, or in this case we will be using the created database hum underscore res. The next we will be creating tables for our database. First is the create table for education. For the create table command create tables within the res database. In this case we will be creating 4 or 5 create tables, namely edu, jobs, employees. Each table has its own set of columns defined with their respective data types. You can add your own data types and data on by adding the certain types like job ID in the name for the data. Then next is the data type. Then next is the if it is primary key and will be used by the other tables. Another one is the depth 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 name that for the table department. The Since it is department name or depth name, depth slash underscore and nm, we'll be using the data type varchar for using the text fonts and limiting it by only 100 characters. Then next we would also execute them for after we finish creating tables and its data types and values inside the tables. On my last table, the employee status, I will be using the previous primary keys, then I would be using them on my table using the foreign key command, and with and also references from its where its primary key holds the primary key the table holds. As you can see on the object explorer on the left, we can see all that we created, all the tables and its column or the data types and its values. Next, also for the last table, I would be use for this table is for only for create renaming purposes only. So with this, we would also use a command solely for remaining the table. This is the command for renaming the table. X, full capital exec, then next is the underscore rename, then single quote for the current table that we want to change, and then next is the name that you desire to change for the selected table. The next is execute it. Don't worry about the message about the caution. Then as you can see on the left side, it is now changed. Table number 6, the rename me table is now named new me table. Now on to the next part is the important commands for the SQL commands. Is the insert into. Of course, by the name itself, these commands are used to insert the data into the tables. Then the insert into statement is followed by the table name and the values to be inserted into the corresponding columns. Now then, after finally inserting the values for each table, inserting the in datas into tables, now we execute them so to insert them and onto the tables. Then we would use the select the asterisk from then the given table. In this command we would see the values inside the table. Then execute, and then you can see all the commands that the values and the date or the datas that are inserted into the first table. You can look at the second na, then I inserted the second the values or datas on the second table. The next is the third. I had the fourth. I'm in the fourth table. Then there finally, and then next is the fifth table, adding values to the fifth table. I mean inserting. Again, by using the select asterisk command from the last table, by executing it, we can see all the fifth table values and date or datas. On to our next command is the alter table. Now these commands is used to modify an existing table. In this case, the employees table is altered to add a new column called salary with a decimal data type. Look on the left side on the object explorer. There we finally add the salary column or the data type into the table of employees. The next following command is the update. Now this these commands modify the existing records, or in this case into the table employees table. The update statement is followed by the table name, the column to be updated, and the new values or the new data that you want to add onto the table on the selected table. You can also add null into the update command or statement. By selecting again by using the select command, we can see the results. Boom, we added the salary column onto the table, on the employees table. Next command is the delete. Now the delete from, or this command deletes records, or in this case from the employees table based on the specified condition. Now on this on this command, I would be deleting uh employee number, in which where the employee number is number 6, or in that case the zero agitong onto the table. Now let us check first the table before we delete. Now you can see of the employee ID number 6. Now after executing the delete command, the employee ID number 6 is now gone. On to the next command. The next command is the transaction, the begin tran. This command begins a new transactions. Now the transactions are used to group multiple database operation into a single unit of work that can be committed or rolled back as a whole. Now with this, we can also, on this transaction, go we could insert many commands on into one. Then if you manage if there is a if you got wrong data or made a mistake, you can use the rollback tran. Now let us first let us let me add first the command for before we roll back. Or in this case, I will be adding a 7 employee AMP ID onto the employees table, another value number 7. Next I would also use the update command to the email of the employee number 3, the John. Now the rollback transaction, or the rollback command that I mentioned earlier, the rollback tran, this command rolls back the changes made within the transaction, undoing the modifications. By doing if you made a mistake or wrong, then you can use the rollback tran command to undo the changes you made to the database. Within only the if you first begin the transaction, it would not work if you only roll if you made the changes then roll back without starting the begin transaction. For those of you who does not understand, it will, in simplest term, it is the undo command from the Microsoft, or when you are mainly editing, or you want to take a step back or undo the changes, rolls back, just like in the name, rollback. Right now, I would execute the begin transaction. The first, it is like the save point. Then next is the changes that I want to make in that transaction. Then let us check the results using the select command. There on the employee ID, number 7 was added onto the employee table. And then also the third employee ID where I changed the email. Then next, if I use the rollback trans, then boom, the it would it was back to the same, and there's also no employee number 7, and the employee number 3, the email was thus reverted back to normal, to first iteration. Of course, the select query, we also I forgot to mention the what is select query. The select query is used the command is used this command is used to retrieve data from one or more table. The select statement is followed by the columns to be selected and the tables to retrieve data from. Next is the clause where clause. This clause is used to filter the data based on the specific conditions. It is added to the select statement to retrieve data that meets the specified criteria. The next clause in the command is the order by clause. This clause is used to sort the retrieved data in ascending or descending order based on one or more columns. Or in this case, I would select from the employees, then I would order by the salary by the ascending order. And the next command is the group by clause. This clause command is used to group rows based on one or more columns. It is used with aggregate functions to perform calculations on each group. Or in this case, I would group by the edu levels from the education table or edu table. The next clause or the command is the having clause command. This clause or command is used to filter groups created by the group by clause based on a specific conditions. Next command is the distinct keyword. This keyword is used to retrieve unique values from a column in the result set. Or in this case, I use the distinct command from the job title from the job table. Next is the and or operators. Now these operators are used to combine multiple conditions in a where clause and requires all conditions to be true while or requires at least one condition to be true. On my in end operator, I would select from the employees table and then where the condition is started in 2022 where the hire date is 2022 January 1 and its salary are greater than 6,000. Next is the or operator where I would the employees again and then the where the conditions hire date is greater than 2022 February 1 and the salary is 6,000 greater than 6,000. Next is the division operator. Now this operator is used to perform division calculations on numeric values in a column. On to our next set of commands is the SQL functions. Now these functions are used to perform calculations or operations on data. On the or in this case I will be using three functions: the average, AVG, the mean and the max functions. on to the next is the SQL function. I mean SQL joins. Now these commands are used to combine data from multiple tables based on the related columns. These examples include the inner join, the left join, the right join, and lastly, the full outer join. As you can see, for the joins on the inner join, I joined employees table and the department table, and then other joins is the I joined employees table and the jobs type table. Next to the last command set of commands is the SQL views. Now, SQL views are virtually tables derived from the result of a query. They provide an abstraction layer and simplify complex queries. The examples include creating and querying views. On my first view is the employees view. On that view, I would select the employee IDs, their full name, and the hire date from the employees table. And the next, my last view is the active employees views. This view would would only view employees that are only active and not retired. Are not retired. There, as I execute it, boom. Make sure to refresh the Object Explorer so you can see sometimes it doesn't when you refresh you cannot see you created the your query created the view, and then boom, you can see there are only 3 on my given tables that are active. Next, lastly, in the two final command is that I would create another database and the same tables for 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 deleting purposes and deleting data and deleting data from the tables and deleting the whole database. Now, what are these two commands? These commands is the truncate command and the drop command. For the truncate command, this will only delete the values and columns inside the table. And as for the drop, it would mean to delete all of the data, including columns, tables, anything. There, I truncate the table in employee status and then drop the whole database. The database is now gone. Now, each of these commands serve a specific purpose in managing and retrieving data from a database. Understanding and mastering these SQL query commands will empower you to efficiently work with databases and manipulate data effectively.